less than 1 full year before you're monitoring, say you get monitored this year, FY19, we're going to call that monitoring season. So you would take the cross-functional monitoring document and you would go through it and make sure that you're only sharing with your schools the indicators or the requirements for parent and family engagement, because the document is massive. It covers all of the programs and you don't want to give them anything that they don't need. Once you get the cross-functional monitoring document for parent and family engagement, just those pages, consider creating a simplified version of that monitoring document to only include the information that they need to provide, or you can even just put an area where you say, this is what you provide, this is what I provide. This is what I want you to submit. These are things that I don't want you to submit. We talked about establishing your training dates and submission deadlines early, and also providing checkpoints and deadlines for them to submit their documentation on time. Consider sending out weekly focus emails to keep your staff on track of what needs to be done each week. And be sure to print out all these correspondences, because you can use them to show evidence of your LEA technical assistance, which is also included in cross-functional monitoring. So here are some tools that Henry County used to prepare our schools for monitoring. We took the monitoring document and we simplified it for our schools. So they didn't get that full cross-functional monitoring document. They did get something that was simplified and showed them exactly what they needed to submit and things that I would submit. So the first one, meaningful consultation with parents, families, and the community. It gives the evidence of what they're supposed to provide. And then I provided areas where I would provide information for them, and all they had to do was just put checks when they had everything in their files. And it went all the way down to everything. LEA technical assistance for schools, which I just spoke about, that's my part. But I wanted them to know that in this file, they didn't have to worry about it. I would have it. And so I put my name across this whole section for them to know Cheryl's got it. We went on and on through every different requirement. Once again, things that I will provide, I showed them. I keep mentioning and emphasizing providing your schools all the important dates and deadlines. So let me show you a copy of what I have. These were our 2017-2018 Title I Parent and Family Engagement important dates and deadlines. So as you can see, I trained all of my people in 2 separate meetings. The deadline for them to have their fall input meeting was August 4th, and I even suggested they do it during open house. You scroll down, you have training dates for all of our PIPs. You even have training dates for new PIPs. I have compliance monitoring meeting dates where I had individual dates sometimes for where they could sign up for an appointment, and sometimes I went out to them and I did that. PIP meetings, deadlines, deadline for all signed parent acknowledgements. I do all of that. Everything that is included in compliance, I give everybody a firm deadline. That doesn't mean that everybody's gonna have it all at the same time, but if you have a deadline to strive for, more than likely you will meet that deadline. So let's talk a little bit about the required GaDOE checklist for monitoring. So as a part of monitoring, districts will need to submit a district developed monitoring checklist, or they can use the GaDOE provided checklist for those various compliance requirements. So if GaDOE has already provided the checklist for you, why would you recreate your own? Use theirs. Just tweak it for your district, customize it for your district, but all the information and the content, use the GaDOE checklist. Don't recreate the wheel. Be sure to share these checklists, however, with your schools prior to your monitoring visit so that they know exactly what should be included and what they will be monitored on. And allot adequate time to complete these checklists and get them signed by your school principal. So let's look at a checklist. This is one of the checklists that was provided by GaDOE, and I tweaked it a little bit in that I wanted to make mine electronic. So you have the school name, the name of meeting, the date of meeting, the communication topic, and for example, primary method, if it was something, all I had to do was just click on it. So I made it electronic so it would just look uniform for our schools. But this is something that GaDOE created. So all I did was tweak it and put Henry County's logo on it and kind of fancy it up a little bit. Another checklist, I just put Henry County's logo on it, kind of made it to where I could just check those check boxes, but I used the same information that GaDOE provided. We talked a little bit about OneDrive and Google Drive, but I would definitely recommend use some type of electronic documentation submission, whether it's even email, if you can't use OneDrive or Google Drive. So for example, before your schools finalize and submit their parent and family engagement plan, have them send it to you so you can go through. GaDOE provides a checklist for the plan, and you go through it and make sure all of the required components are there. If they are not, you send them an email, or you write on the plan the areas that they need to fix, and you send it back to them. No need for paper trails. Just do it electronic. That way, before they send that plan out to parents in the community, it has been vetted and it has been corrected by you, because after it goes out, it's too late. I would also suggest provide templates for the flyers. How do you want the parent input flyers to look? How do you want your annual Title I meeting flyer to look? Your sign-in sheets, what are the things, the components that have to be on the sign-in sheet? Make sure you create templates for your school so everything is uniform. Require your schools to send out notifications at least 3 different ways. So for example, you have a high school, you're sending out something for the parent input meeting. Don't just allow your schools to stop at sending it out with a flyer, because 9 times out of 10, the parents won't get it. So use paper, the flyer, school communication platform, which is maybe Infinite Campus or a school app. And then social media, post it on Twitter, post it on Facebook, put it on the school marquee. Give schools many options for providing notification for your parents, and then you choose the options for each activity that are acceptable, that are clear. Say it's a picture, you want clear pictures, you want screenshots of dates that look clear and are within compliance. This year, Henry County Schools created Title I parent handbooks, which contain all of the required documentation that parents needed. For example, we put in ours the parent and family engagement plan for the district, the parent and family engagement plan for the school, as well as the compact. At the back of it, it had a perforated form where you could tear out the acknowledgement letter for parents to return back to school. If you have the ability, or your district has the ability to create those, go for it. That will also be an additional method that you can use for monitoring for your plan and your compact. So if you gave out your plan and compact during your annual Title I meeting, for those parents that came, you posted it on your website. A third way could be you sent these handbooks home to all students. So this is the one that we've created. So we had 25 schools, so we created one for every single school, and every single student in those schools received this to go home, or they were also in the front office, in the parent resource center. So we printed out a lot of these. Monthly calendars that are sent out to parents not only serve as an additional notification method, because you can put your date of your input meeting on there, you can put the date of your annual Title I meeting on there, you can put the date of your a parent workshop, you can put the date of your technology training, which includes copyright piracy information, but it also helps parents just stay organized and know what's going on in the schools. You can drop those right into your files for notifications. So we created a building staff capacity form. Let's see if I can show it. And it allows schools to give me their plan of how they were going to build staff capacity throughout the year. So based on their parent input meeting and parent feedback on the topics that they would like to see their school staff be trained on, or things that they would like to work with their school staff on, they could write those topics there. And then they would have to just let me know when did they plan on discussing it, and even how. Give me the topic, how you're going to deliver it, and then the date. Always treat all of your schools as if they will be monitored. As I stated, Henry County had 25 Title I schools this school year, but only 5 were monitored. But you won't find out the number of schools that are being monitored, or even the schools that are being monitored, until maybe 2 weeks prior to monitoring. So treat all of your schools as if they're going to be monitored until the very end. And once the schools that are being monitored, you find out from your monitor the schools that they've selected, then you can start working with those schools specifically. Just work with only those schools and meet with them to conduct final walkthroughs to make sure their files are complete. You have all the files from all the schools anyway, so now you can start pulling that information and put them in the actual monitoring files for the GaDOE monitor. I created a monitoring folder checklist, which can also be used to ensure that in the school's files that are being monitored, you have everything. And it looks like this. So here is an example of the file, and now I'm showing the indicators. This is the first time the schools are actually seeing indicators now. And I tell in every folder, you know, GaDOE provides a template for all of the indicator labels. And there's a folder that says this, and then I tell them what should go on the file, and they put it there. And from OneDrive, they just pull it and print it out, or they've already provided it to me, and so I have it, and I just pull it and print it out and put it in their file. And then I can put whether or not they're ready or not. So all the areas in pink are the things that I provide, such as the district developed checklist, such as the LEA written procedures. For the Title I staff or the school staff that are not being monitored, those other schools that are not being monitored, if you have multiple schools that are Title I, have them serve as mock monitors to assist, because they've been trained all year. They are prepared. They've been working on these same files. So have them to assist and monitor the files of the schools that have been selected. Let as many eyes as you can look through those files, because you may have missed something. So I had about 5 or 6 different eyes look at every single file to make sure that exactly what they saw was what was being asked. And some people caught things, even typos, or this wasn't right, or whatever, which, you know, you couldn't do anything about some of the flyers, but they could organize it in a way that was a little easier to understand for our monitor. And last, as far as monitoring strategy, don't wait until the last minute to start preparing for monitoring. If you're on a 4-year cycle and you know when your last monitoring visit was, you know that every 4 years you're going to be monitored. And so even if you're monitored in January or February, come to school ready to prepare for monitoring. Don't wait until December or wait until November to start getting your files together, because something will happen. As a matter of fact, for us, we were monitored January 25th. We experienced snow days the week prior. And so we lost a whole week of preparing for monitoring because of snow days. You never know what'll happen. I want to tell you more than anything, if you didn't learn anything, relax and try not to stress out. If you're prepared for monitoring, if you create a system, even if you're not being monitored for FY19, go on now and start preparing. Monitoring is not meant to be a gotcha experience. If you have questions, ask your GaDOE family engagement specialist. They are really nice. They are willing to help you. It's not a secret. It's not something they'll say, no, I'm not going to tell you. You just got to figure out. They want you to succeed. And consider contacting a colleague who has undergone monitoring. Plan A, if you have 2 years or more, evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of your parent and family engagement program on both the school and district level. Ensure that your school staff are knowledgeable of the program requirements, including the new Title III requirement. Cut old ESA practices that did not carry over to ESSA. That's if you have at least 2 years or more. If you only have at least 1 year or more, Plan B, look at the items marked with a star under Plan A. Cut old practices. You're now in ESSA. Review your current year's GaDOE monitoring document and design your support around what is required. So go through that monitoring document backwards and forwards to learn what you have to put in each folder. Acclimate your schools to the monitoring process by conducting self-monitoring visits and compliance checks. And make sure that you focus on the areas of weakness. Now, if you are coming up into FY19 and you're being monitored, go back to Plan A and B and look at all the items marked with the star. Make sure that has been done. But then also include your school staff or even create a committee to plan for monitoring. What is your game plan going to be? Incorporate compliance documentation checklists and submission dates into your yearly meeting and training calendars. Ensure that monitoring documentation from the year prior is correct, because remember, they can go back a full year. And review the files from your schools yourself. Do not count or assume that everything is correct. Go and look at it yourself. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any other questions or you have some more tips you'd like to share, you can contact me. My name is, once again, Cheryl Matthews. I'm the Title I Parent Engagement Specialist for Henry County Schools, and I am sharing my email address with you all. We're in this together, you guys. So for me, nothing's a secret. I'm willing to help you all and give my advice or give my tips, and so is, as I mentioned before, your GaDOE contact. So hope you all have a great monitoring experience, and I'm sure you will do well. Have a great one. Bye.